Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So as you can see behind me, our garden is still doing pretty good. We have switched a few things around. We have gone ahead and taken out a few crops that were finished and have cultivated the soil. I'll show you that here in just a few minutes, and planted a few new things. So let's look and see what we have going on in our winter garden, I guess you could say, except it's August and it's 92 degrees today. So it's really hot, which sounds strange that we're preparing for a winter garden when it's 90 degrees outside. But here we go. Let's take a look. All right, we have harvested our beets and our radishes. So Vince got out and tilled up this little corner of the garden so that we could plant some new crops. We'll share those with you in just a minute. Okay, so let's start with the tomatoes. They have suddenly started turning yellow with some spots, and I have realized I have not fertilized these or treated these in a few weeks. So I've gone ahead and added some nutrients to the soil. I'm hoping that we can get them back because they are suddenly, everything's turning very yellow. As you can see. But the good news is there are a lot of tomatoes on the vines. So everywhere I look, there's clumps of tomatoes. So lots of tomatoes. I'm just hoping that some of the brown leaves that are coming up on the bottom there, and yellow leaves, that we can treat those. I've added some Miracle Grow as well as a little bit of sodium water. To add some magnesium back into them. So we'll see. Hopefully they'll still do well and we'll finish out our crop of tomatoes. Beside the tomatoes over here, we are going to have some corn, I hope. So I've never planted corn. Of course, I've never planted anything until this year, but we're going to do some corn. And I did 4 small rows kind of close together. So we'll see how that goes. And over here I have 2 rows. But this row here is okra, and this row here is some more beets. So I didn't plant a lot of okra. I'm not a fan of it, but Vince likes it. So we'll see how that does. Next to that, I planted some green beans. These are the bush beans that don't have to be trellised. They just grow out into a bush. So it just looks like a pile of dirt right now. And they're going to be right here next to the eggplants. Over here, next to the tomatoes, is where the broccoli was. We pulled all that up and chilled it out. And we planted some winter squashes here. So we'll see how they do. You can see I put 4 little transplants in there as they started coming up. So I got a variety pack of winter squashes. I don't know which one's which. I'll have to look on my map, but one of them was the Delectica and one was the butternut. So that's one of these 2. I think this is the Delectica, which is like a green and white striped squash. And then over here I think I put the butternut. Transplanted a few of those right over here next to or in front of the peppers. So this row we have not really done much with this, and we tilled it out. And I also planted some cabbage, which is probably going to bolt and die because it's 90 degrees out here, and they are more of a cold type plant, but we'll see about that. So if you remember the rows, I had peppers here, which are doing great. They're even flowering. So hopefully we'll get some peppers soon. And the potatoes are here. A lot of them fell over in the last few storms. Some of them have sprung back up, some have not. And beyond that were the eggplants, which are also starting to flower. So that's good. This next row was squash. So we have our summer squash. We're still getting that. We've seen a few squash bugs in the squash, so I'm going to have to treat that. I treated that this morning. And then next to that were the pumpkins, the cucumbers, and then the zucchini. So the pumpkins have come on out here to the side of the bed. And if you'll look down here, we have our first little pumpkin growing. Isn't it cute? There he is. So it's a cute little pumpkin. So hopefully he'll do well. And in front of the pumpkins, I had planted 2 small cantaloupe plants, and this one is almost ripe. And it looks like we have a few more that are budding. You can see there's a little one there that's coming on. So hopefully we'll get a few more than just one cantaloupe, but I'm waiting for this one to finish ripening. Because we've had so much water, I keep coming out here and turning it just so it doesn't stay too wet on one side or crack. And so I just turned it again. You can see where it's been kind of wet from getting watered earlier. The cucumbers are still quite prolific. I picked 5 this morning, so they keep growing more cucumbers. The zucchini, I did have to pull out a few of them that were damaged pretty bad by the vine borer. I still have a few down here that are doing well on the end of the row, but on this row I went ahead and put in spaghetti squash, so it's also a winter squash, and I've just put those seeds in, transplanted those, so hopefully we'll have some spaghetti squash growing soon. So yeah, you can see our cucumbers are still growing away, and our squash is still growing away, and our pumpkin vines have come on out of the bed around the zucchini outside the bed, and they have lots of flowers on them, so maybe we'll see some pumpkins on this end as well. We'll have to see. You can see this end of the garden looking up toward the house. It just looks like a big giant green mess, and I've just spotted, this is the pumpkins that are growing right here next to the zucchini, but look what has snuck in here. That's right, it is a cucumber. So I'll be harvesting another cucumber. I missed that one earlier because it's hiding in here with all the pumpkins. The zucchini, I did harvest one this morning, a big one. I don't see too many that are on the vine right now, but hopefully we'll get a few more zucchini before they're done, and we'll just keep looking for those hidden cucumbers. I've had to pull out quite a few leaves that are getting yellow. I need to pull some more on this side and get rid of those, and then I'll treat them all again for the mold stuff that gets on there. So on this side we've got our again, this is our pumpkin that's trying to take over everything, but right here in the middle of it, inside this little tomato cage, is our eggplant. And our eggplant is getting some flowers on them. So let me see if I can show you one right there. So maybe we'll see some eggplants soon. And our squash, as you can see, we still have quite a few squash that are growing, so hopefully I can pick some more tomorrow. I think I picked 9 this morning, and 2 of them had little bugs in them. So got to get rid of the bugs, keep treating everything, and we'll see how it goes. In front of these tomatoes, I still have some carrots that are growing. And I also planted a few new little onions that I cut the end off and grew some more roots from them by putting them in water. So maybe we'll see some onions soon. But you can see the little tomatoes, the cherry tomatoes are growing. Now I did plant beefsteak, and I haven't seen a single beefsteak tomato, so I guess those did not do well. All right, let's talk about some bugs, you guys. 2 of my squash this morning had these little holes in them, which is indicative of a squash bug, where they burrow in and start eating it on the inside. But it also got a cucumber. So there's something, you can actually see that larva looking worm coming out. Look at that. Isn't that disgusting? I mean, it's actually in there now eating it. How gross is that? So I think those are called pickle worms. And as you can see from the video earlier, I did put some of the 7 dust down to help control these, because these guys are gross. You don't want to bite into a pickle and have that in your cucumber or pickle. So I'm having a treat now for squash bugs and pickle worms. So yeah, wish me luck that we get these under control, because that's gross. Alright guys, I wanted to share with you our new layout. I put it in an Excel spreadsheet. You can see over here is our corn. This is the spot where Vince just tilled up for us, and we planted 4 little rows of corn here, and our okra and our beets, our green beans, and a couple more little onions. Our delicata squash is here. And then on this row, we had not really tilled it up before, but we did, and planted some butternut squash and a few of the little Chinese cabbage. It's hot, so I don't know if they'll last. And because of all the bugs, I went ahead and planted a few peppermint seeds. Hopefully they will germinate, but that's supposed to help with some of the bugs as well. And then I put some more of the winter squash back here, the delicata, butternut, and mostly spaghetti squash back here. So, and then this section is where the cantaloupe and the pumpkins have kind of come out here and taken over this section. And the pumpkins also went around this side, and they're back up here where there's not part of the garden. Right. And the other thing that I did is create a spreadsheet, and I have all these little color codes to tell me what I've planted, when I transplanted it, when I treated it, when they germinated, if they died. So you can see here, like I planted lettuce and it never really germinated, and so then it just died. So the black means it's gone. The black could also mean that it's done. So for example, the broccoli, we planted it in the greenhouse, and then we transplanted it, and it grew and grew and grew. We had itty bitty tiny broccoli, and then I pulled it up, so it's done now too. And then some of the dots tell me about when to expect to harvest some of these plants. So you can see I've got it going out to November. I think our first frost is November. And then next year we're going to start on time instead of so late. So I'll start back in here with putting some of the vegetables in the greenhouse to get them started. Hey guys, that's it for our quick garden update. Hopefully we'll see the winter squash coming up, as well as our pumpkins and cantaloupes coming on in, and our eggplant. And I can't wait. I think we can pull up our potatoes in about 4 weeks, so we'll see if we have potatoes or if we don't. So keep joining us, and we'll keep you posted. Thanks. Bye. Went ahead and pulled our cantaloupe. Let's cut it and see if it's ripe. Alex, we're going to cut it open?
Yes, we are going to cut this cantaloupe open.
Are we going to cross our fingers that it's ripe?
Yes.
Let's see. Might be
Please be ripe.
We'll see if it's going to be ripe or not.
Looks a little green.
It does look a little green. Let's see if it's ripe.
Hopefully. Oh, I see some orange juice coming out. Well, not orange juice, but you know what I mean. Oh. That's a lot of seeds.
Does that look good?
Smell
it. It smells pretty good.
Are you sure that's not a mango? Because that smells like a mango.
It smells good, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
All right. It's our first one.
I know what I'm eating tonight.